Thanks for joining today. I wanted to start by asking a few questions from the room. How many people are familiar with our VM series firewalls? Okay, some people. How many people are familiar with our Cloud NGFW, which is a service we launched last year with AWS? Oh, that's good. And how many people are familiar with the AWS Gateway Load Balancer that we launched a few years ago? Oh, still some people have not heard of. Okay, all right. That helps me, gauge the room and adjust my talk track, and hopefully I woke you up a little bit as well. It's still early morning. My name is Mukesh Gupta. I lead our product team for software firewalls. So Palo Alto has hardware firewalls, software firewalls, and firewall as a service called SASE. I lead that software firewalls portion. Been with the company for about 4 years and a long history of network security background before that. Joining me today would be Felix. Felix, why don't you come up and just introduce yourself, and then you can go back and relax.
Well, all right. Good morning. My name is Felix Asari. I'm the Director of Security Operations for Putnam Investments. I am wide awake, unlike Mukesh. I had to drink some more coffee this morning, so I'm excited to talk to you guys about the fun things that we're doing at Putnam. Thank you.
All right, so what we will do is I'll start by talking a little bit about Zero Trust, what we see happening in cloud, all the risks that we see, and I'll give you a little bit of overview of our software firewalls platform, and I'll hand it over to Felix, who can actually tell you how they're using our firewalls to implement Zero Trust at Putnam. Okay? So if you can walk away with only 4 things from these sessions, these are the 4 things I would want you to walk away with. How do you get centralized threat visibility across all of your cloud environments? This is layer 7 visibility into sophisticated threats. And how do you stop them in line before they cause any damage? How do you do this across all the clouds that you have? So public clouds, private clouds, hybrid, multi-cloud, all of your environment. How do you do that across these environments in a consistent manner? And how do you do that without slowing your application teams down and let them be agile and still be safe? So those are the things we'll cover. Here is a quick overview of Palo Alto Networks. Palo Alto Networks started as a network security company. So that's the yellow-orange square that you see, where we have hardware firewalls, software firewalls, and SASE, and all of our cloud-delivered security services that bring that intelligence onto the platform. The blue one is cloud security, which is our CNAPP platform called Prisma Cloud. So CSPM, CWPP, CIAM, all of that functionality is part of Prisma Cloud. And the green one is the transforming the SOC, so SOC operations called Cortex. So those are the 3 platforms that we have. And what you see at the bottom is our threat intel team called Unit 4G2. That's the foundation of everything we do. They are tracking all the threats that are going on and feeding the human intelligence into the AI that we use across all these platforms. So that's what makes up Palo Alto Networks at this point. We will focus on software firewalls today and how do you implement Zero Trust across the enterprise using our software firewalls. So what is Zero Trust? It's a big buzzword that everybody is talking about. Here's how we think about it. It's an approach to cybersecurity that basically says, eliminate all the implicit trust everywhere, and then continuously validate every stage of any digital interaction. These digital interactions are happening between users and internet, users and your devices, your applications. They're happening between applications. So how do you inspect everything and make sure that it's all good interactions and not bad interactions? And if you do that, then you're marching towards Zero Trust. That's how we think about it. We have published a framework for Zero Trust, so you can think about it in a practical manner, and you can implement it. And the way that framework looks is, there are 3 rows. So you want to implement Zero Trust for users, you want to implement it for applications, and you want to implement it for infrastructure. And then you go across those 3 rows in 4 pillars. The first one is identity, which is pretty foundational. You want to validate the identity of everything before you allow any access. The second one is the device or workloads. So you want to check the integrity of the devices, of the workloads, before you allow any connections, because the devices could be compromised. If a device is compromised, you don't want to allow any access from that device. So that's the second pillar. The third one is the main access. Everything and everybody needs access to do their job, for applications to function. So once you've verified the identity and the integrity of the device, you want to enable that access, and you want to go with least privileged access. Only allow things that are absolutely needed for things to function. So that would make sure that you don't have extra access that could enable attackers to attack you, right? So those three pillars generally you would see everywhere. What most people miss is that fourth pillar, which is the transactions. So all of your users, all of your devices, all of your applications, they need access to function. In the microservices world, all the applications are talking to each other. So you have to allow that access, otherwise things break. Once you have allowed that access, how do you know that the traffic that's flowing through those connections is not malicious? So you need to inspect all that on a constant basis to make sure that it's not compromised, it's not someone trying to exfiltrate your data, it's not someone trying to carry some malicious malware over those allowed connections. You will have a lot of allowed connections in your environment, and you want to make sure that you are continuously inspecting them. So that's the fourth pillar, transaction, and that's where firewalls play a role. So just keep that in mind, that that's what makes up the entire Zero Trust. So everybody is moving to cloud. Everybody is trying to go fast and furious, build applications, innovate. That's pretty clear. I loved the way Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, he talked about this running fast in one of the commencement speeches that he gave just 2 weeks ago, I think. He said, you are either running for food or you're running from becoming food. And that's what every enterprise is going through right now. You're either running for food or running from becoming food. Either you disrupt or you get disrupted. So it's pretty obvious that application teams have this pressure of running fast and innovating. And what when we talk to customers, we realize that pretty much all customers have embarked on this hybrid cloud approach. One application decides to choose AWS, other application team decides to stay on-prem for whatever reasons, and you end up with this multi-cloud, hybrid cloud infrastructure that the security teams have to deal with. So that's an important thing to remember, that whatever security tools you use, you want to make sure that they can cover all of your infrastructure, they can provide that consistent security across all of this infrastructure. So what's happening in the threat landscape? So everybody's moving to cloud, running fast and furious. That brings a lot of risks. So if you see all these attacks, the number of attacks are going up. Their impact they are causing on enterprises, that's going up as well. So according to some study, 45% of the organizations have already suffered a cloud-based data loss. Just 2-3 weeks ago, I read in news some healthcare company got compromised, and hundreds of thousands of patient records got exfiltrated. So these things are happening. I just to understand the gravity of what you're dealing with, I want you to write down a name. I'll tell you. It's CONTI, Conti. It's a Russian-based ransomware gang, and it's fascinating. I've been researching about them. Last year, one of their org charts got released, and you can see their org chart. They have an engineering department just like we do. They have business development department, the team of people who are negotiating ransom. They have HR department that recruits people. They run ransomware as a service and recruiting people to launch these attacks. It's fascinating. So it's not some hobbyist trying to attack you. This is a full criminal enterprise. They claim to have 1,000 customers that they have attacked so far, and 145 or 123 million in revenue. That's how they're tracking things. So this group decided to launch an attack against the country of Costa Rica last May, and brought the entire country on its knee. The country had to declare national emergency to deal with this. They asked for 20 million in ransom and decided to leak all of the government data on internet. So that's what you're dealing with. So yes, your application teams need to run fast and furious, but then you need to run fast securely. Otherwise, these criminal enterprises are coming after you. So a lot of people ask me, why do I need a firewall in cloud? So these are the 3 reasons why I tell people why you need a NextGen firewall. The biggest risk in cloud comes from the outbound connections that you have allowed. All your workloads need access to the internet. They're either downloading software updates, connecting to GitHub, or they're calling some public APIs of Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, banking. Once you have allowed those connections through your security groups, you've pretty much opened all internet access from these workloads. What that means is if someone compromises a workload using any method, they now have a back channel to the internet where they can download malware, they can exfiltrate your data, and that's the biggest risk that the people are carrying. If you protect those outbound connections with a NextGen firewall, a NextGen firewall can inspect all of those connections and make sure that these connections are not going to command and control centers in China. They are going to valid APIs that you have allowed. Right? So it's very easy for the NextGen firewalls to protect against these outbound connections. A lot of customers also use VDI in cloud, and VDI are just like user laptops. When they are going out to the internet, you want to make sure that they are not clicking on some phishing websites, they're not downloading malware, because these are humans trying to access internet from cloud. So that's the first one. The second one is the unknown and unpatched vulnerabilities. So I know everybody's trying to shift left and fix all the vulnerabilities before they go into production. But a lot of times these vulnerabilities are not even known, so you can't patch them. Take Log4j as an example. Log4j existed in the code for 7 years before it was announced as a vulnerability. So who knows how many people knew about it and used that to exploit that vulnerability before it came out. Even after it comes out, it takes weeks or months for people to really patch it, because things are in production. You can't suddenly bring them down. You can't break things. So if you have NextGen firewall fronting these applications, it buys you time, because the NextGen firewall would quickly get patched with signatures and patterns, and it can even use machine learning these days to look at unknown malicious behavior and block all of these things, so you have time to patch these vulnerabilities. Now, most of the times people would tell me, but I have a WAF, and that's already protecting against these things. And my answer to that is WAF only does HTTP and HTTPS protection. Most of the times, if you ask people, like, is everything you're running in cloud HTTP or HTTPS? And the answer is, well, 95% is. Attackers are not going to use that 95%. They're going to use the 5% that you have. So if you have any applications that are running on non-web ports, then how do you protect that, right? So that's the second place where you need to use NextGen firewalls. The third is the lateral movement. So as I said previously, all these applications, you allow a lot of connections between these applications. Some applications are critical, they need heavy compliance. Some applications, not so much. But if someone breaks into one, you need to make sure that they can't spread, because that's what happens very quickly. So that lateral movement can also be prevented by NextGen firewalls if you have implemented NextGen firewalls. So those are the risks that the NextGen firewalls can help you with. Now, when you look at firewalls in this, I talk to customers and they're dealing with this trade-off. They either decide to go with the built-in firewalls in cloud because they're really easy, they're right there, but they can't stop these modern, sophisticated threats. And that's why I wanted to let you know what kind of stuff that you're dealing with. These attacks can't be prevented by some basic security or security groups or basic firewalls. You need really sophisticated prevention mechanisms to fight against these attacks. If you look at the NextGen firewalls, they provide that best-in-class security, but they're not as cloud-friendly as the native services are, right? So there's that gap. So customers are dealing with this trade-off of, do they go with best-in-class security, or do they go with something that's easy and native to cloud that will allow their teams to run fast? And then every cloud is different, so you end up implementing different mechanisms, and that increases your operational overhead, and it also brings down your security posture, because now you have different tools that you're trying to maintain. So these are some of the challenges that customers bring up. What we have been trying to do is deliver that best-in-class security, but deliver it in a way that it allows you to move fast. You can automate things, and you can let your application teams run fast, make it as native and as automation friendly as possible. So that's what we have been trying to do. So this is our software NextGen firewall platform. What you see there is 3 form factors right in the middle of the screen. VM series, which is our virtualized NextGen firewall, CN series, which is the containerized NextGen firewall, NGFW, which is firewall as a service integrated deeply into AWS. All of these form factors are powered by AI ML. They run the same PanOS software, so you get all the PanOS capabilities in them, and they are all powered by that Unit 42 threat research team. What you see on top of those form factors is what we call cloud-delivered security services. And those cloud-delivered security services are feeding that threat intel into all these form factors. So threat prevention, which focuses on malware detection and prevention, URL filtering, which would allow you to do layer 7 policies, so you can control what URLs are allowed out or in your environment, and it also will prevent all the C2 command and control connections, etc. We have sandboxing, which is called Wildfire, that is going to detect all the files that are carrying malware that are going in and out of your environments. We have DNS security, we have DLP. So all of these services can be turned on very easily once you have deployed the firewall. And Felix is going to show you how easy it is to turn these things on. So once you put the firewalls, you can turn these things on and bring that full layer 7 best-in-class security that would prevent those attacks. So I'll just double-click a little bit on each one of these form factors. So I talked about VM series. It's integrated into pretty much all cloud environments, public clouds as well as private clouds, if you're trying to do private cloud. So, and it brings that consistent security across all of these environments. So you deploy it once and you can enforce policies and do the same threat efficacy across these environments. CN series is built for Kubernetes, all flavors of Kubernetes, and it can bring that same layer 7 security to your Kubernetes environments. And Cloud NGFW, as I said, takes away the burden of managing firewalls, and we deliver it as a service in AWS. The other thing that you see on the slide is automation. So we have invested heavily in automation, so that's easy to deploy these firewalls. Is easy to automate the policy workflow from your application teams to the security teams as well. So Terraform providers, Ansible, CloudFormation templates, all of this stuff is ready to be used, and it's available from us, so you don't have to write all this code. So this is the typical example architecture that our customers use in AWS. You see application VPCs. On the screen, you only see 2. You will have probably hundreds of them, all of them connected to a transit gateway, and that takes you in and out of these environments, and also allows east-west connectivity between VPCs. They generally end up, and that transit gateway also allows you to connect your on-prem environment into this environment. They generally would create a security VPC that's attached to the transit gateway, and that's called centralized hub and spoke design model. And that's where you deploy firewalls, and you can route all your traffic, going out to the internet, coming back from the internet, as well as east-west between VPCs. You can route all of that through the security VPC. They also create management VPC, where they put all the management stuff, and Panorama, which is our centralized management platform, that's where this goes. So VM series, as I said, it's deeply integrated in all cloud. We have built all the automation stuff, and it's available in the marketplace as a pay-go offering. So you don't have to talk to anybody. You can just start using it from the marketplace and just pay for the number of hours you use it for. So we've done all of that work. Once you settle on it, of course, you can do a long-term contract as well, but it's available in the pay-go marketplace. So if you take VM series into that architecture, what you would do is create a gateway load balancer. That's the magical load balancer that we created with AWS, and it's drastically simplified how you consume firewalls in AWS. So you'll put a bunch of VM series firewalls behind that gateway load balancer. Gateway load balancer comes with an endpoint, so you will create a gateway load balancer endpoint and attach that to your transit gateway. Then all you have to do is just route all the traffic that you need to inspect through that endpoint, by changing your routes, and then things are going through the firewall. The gateway load balancer magically transports all the traffic to the firewall using Geneve encapsulation, and then firewalls would inspect that traffic if it is allowed by policy and it's not malicious, the firewalls would send this back to the gateway load balancer endpoint, and off it goes to wherever it was going. So it has become really easy with that gateway load balancer technology to implement firewalls. You can also write auto-scaling policies on gateway load balancer, monitor traffic, monitor health of these firewalls, and if the load is going up, then it'll automatically increase the number of firewalls. The load traffic goes down, then it'll decrease the number of firewalls. So you can do all of that with VM series and gateway load balancer. Cloud NGFW takes the management of those firewalls away from you. So it's very similar to VM series, but the firewalls are not running in your account, they are running in our account, and you just get this as a service. So it becomes even easier to deploy. You can just click a few buttons or call an API, and we would create what we call a Cloud NGFW resource, very similar to AWS Network Firewall or any load balancers. You're creating a resource, and that resource is gateway load balancer and a bunch of VM series firewalls, but you don't see any of that because that's running in our account. So all you see is this Cloud NGFW resource endpoint that shows up in your account, and all you have to do is just route traffic to that endpoint. Everything else is taken care of by Palo Alto. We will auto-scale when needed. We will upgrade those firewalls when needed. We will deal with performance, scale, everything. You just focus on writing your security policies and getting your logs through CloudWatch, S3, or Kinesis. So that's all you do with Cloud NGFW. So we simplified it drastically. Oh, one thing that, when we launched Cloud NGFW last year, most of our customers are used to Panorama. So when we launched it, we didn't support Panorama with Cloud NGFW. So just wanted to let everybody know that we have now integrated Panorama with Cloud NGFW. We just released it, so really exciting for all of our customers. Now they can use Panorama to manage their hardware firewalls, their VM series firewalls, and Cloud NGFW, and they can apply consistent policies across all of these environments using Panorama. So that's something new that just wanted to highlight. CN series is the containerized form factor. It's good for customers that have deployed large Kubernetes clusters, and they're running a variety of applications on these clusters. What happens is once you start mixing these applications on a large cluster, then you need layer 7 visibility, just like you would want that at a VPC level in AWS. In Kubernetes, you end up assigning these namespaces to these applications, and you need to understand what is coming in and out of those namespaces, because that namespace becomes your trust boundary, and CN series allow you to do that. Brings the same layer 7 visibility and control and protection within that Kubernetes environment. It's deeply integrated with Kubernetes, so you would deploy it using Helm charts and same Kubernetes YAML files and mechanisms that you use to deploy applications in Kubernetes. So that's what CN series does. And then, as I said before, the CDSS layer, these are all the threat prevention services, Wildfire, Advanced URL, DNS. We have been investing a lot in these services. We use AI ML. Now we even take the AI ML and run it on the firewall inline, so we don't even have to send packets to the cloud service. We can detect some of the malicious behavior on the firewalls themselves. So these security services is what makes us special. We have been using AI ML for a long time, and we continue to invest more and more into this. And this is what allows us to prevent those known attacks as well as the unknown attacks. So hundreds of thousands of firewalls that our customers have deployed. If we detect something malicious on one of those firewalls, we can take that and upgrade all of our firewalls in real time, so all of our customers are protected with that new behavior. Our CDSS services detect about 1.8 million new malicious objects every single day. That's how much of this stuff is going on around. And the last one is the centralized management Panorama, which would allow you to write policies and inspect logs across all of your environments. So on-prem, private clouds, public clouds, multiple public clouds, and hybrid cloud. You can use Panorama to get that centralized visibility and consistent security across all of these environments. And that new thing again, now it supports Cloud NGFW as well, so that's part of Panorama now as well. So, whoops. Just wanted to show you a live video of Panorama support for Cloud NGFW. So people that are familiar with Cloud NGFW, people have been asking for how can I manage it through Panorama. So a short video that will show you how you do that with Panorama.
Hello everyone, we are really excited to share a demo of Panorama integration for the Cloud NextGen Firewall in AWS. This latest integration will provide the NetSec customers with complete end-to-end visibility with a unified policy for their hybrid and multi-cloud infrastructure. You will continue to subscribe to the Cloud NextGen Firewall service using AWS Marketplace and create a tenant. Then you can link your Cloud NextGen Firewall tenant with your Panorama appliance. Now, you can manage a shared set of security rules centrally on Cloud NextGen Firewall resources you created on this tenant alongside your physical and virtual firewall appliances. And you can also use logging, reporting, and log analytics all from a single Panorama console. After installing the plugin and initial authentication, Cloud NextGen Firewall console will automatically populate the serial numbers of Panorama instances you own. Select the Panorama instance you want to link to the Cloud NextGen Firewall tenant. After the successful integration, Panorama will fetch all the information about the Cloud NextGen Firewall tenants and resources using the plugin. Now you will be able to manage security policies and apply security services to individual rules using the same Panorama interface that you are using to manage your on-prem and other cloud firewalls. You can then associate the registered Cloud NextGen firewalls with a specific device group. This integration will also enable you to monitor Cloud NextGen Firewall logs and analytics in Cortex Data Lake along with Panorama. This concludes our demo. Thank you for watching.
All right. That was my portion. Felix, why don't you come over and tell people what you have done with software firewalls at Putnam.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mukesh, and great presentation. How's everyone feeling so far? Everyone's all quiet. Do we need some more coffee in here? Oh yeah, I see a clap. I like that. Woo! All right, so my name is Felix Putnam, like I said earlier, and I'm with Putnam Investments. Did you know that way back in 1957, Putnam was one of the first companies to actually start an investment fund? Putnam started their Putnam Investment Fund in 1957 internationally, and that was not even something that was done at the time, looking at where the world was at that particular moment. I'm sharing this with you to say that Putnam Investments is all about being the first when it comes to a lot of things. One of the things that I want to highlight is when it comes to the mutual fund business, we've been doing this for the last 8 decades. We are the top mutual fund investors in the world right now. Some of the things that we actually focus on is managed accounts, model portfolios, and then we have over 529 accounts that are active ETFs and IRAs. Now, this is the part that that's good, but also gives me a headache. We have 165, I think now it's probably $169 billion assets under management. So think about it for a second. You have all of these people giving you their money to invest. How do you protect that? Let that sink in. While we do this, we are all over the world. We have offices in Tokyo, Munich, London, Boston, and Sydney, and even in Singapore. So for us in security, how do you ensure that you can see everything that's going on around the globe? What we also want to do, and what we've always wanted to do, is to ensure that, of course, our shareholders are giving us their money. We are investing with our clients are working with us. As a matter of fact, yesterday I met someone in the audience that said, hey, Putnam Investments, I was investing with you guys 20 years ago. It's like, wow, that's amazing. So how do we continue to build the trust with our customers and our shareholders, and also do all of this while being secure? This is where we had to elicit the help of some of the customers, and I mean, some of the tools that are out there. So AWS and going into the cloud was one of the biggest things for us to do that. What we wanted to do by going into the cloud was we wanted to be able to, number one, scale fast. We wanted to be one of the first to bring our products out, and then also move with the technologies as they were changing, as the world was changing. So for our security requirements, if you look at what I have on the screen, it was basically about, we have data centers all across the globe, like I showed you earlier. How do we ensure that we have improved security? We wanted to have a single pane of glass, and then we also wanted to do more with automation, where things were just moving as quickly as possible. And at the same time, sandboxing capabilities was a big thing for us, because with how things were changing, like you were giving an example, Mukesh, about the threat actors that are there are so many files that we constantly have to look at. If we didn't have a sandbox, there was no way we could be able to do that. So when we partnered with AWS and Palo Alto, one of the biggest things for us was, as we were moving all of our work from our on-prem environment into the cloud, how were we going to be able to see everything that was happening on-prem and in the cloud at the same time? And Panorama gave us that visibility to be able to do that. We were able to see everything that was on-prem and in the cloud, and as a matter of fact, we could just write our own CloudFormation templates, create our own policies, put it out in one single platform, and then it got applied everywhere. One of our biggest headaches was tickets, because from the start, if any of our tools that we use came up with IOCs, something new was happening, they sent the IOCs out, we had to now take it, my team grabs it, goes to open a ticket with the help desk. Help desk is now going to go through their own list and then push it on to the network engineering team before they go to run all these SHAN requests. It was a lot. But because of the tools that we had and automation with Panorama, we could just apply it with just one single click. URL filtering and using Wildfire was also amazing. I just talked about that with the sandboxing capabilities. It was easy for us to just look at and be able to pinpoint specifically what devices that we were looking at. If we had specific devices that had device IDs, we could go specific to those ones and then make the changes, block, allow, whichever way we wanted it. So to tell you more about what we've done, we use, and I was telling Palo Alto the other day, I was like, we use this Wildfire tool more than we even are supposed to, because it gives us that flexibility to be able to scan all the files that are going through our firewalls, both on-prem and then in the cloud. One of the biggest things for us was also being able to consolidate all of our tools. So if you can imagine having all the data centers across the world, we have several tools that are doing so many things, but with this, we could have one single pane of glass that consolidated all of the things that we were doing. I didn't have to now go log into my sandbox to see what's happening. I didn't have to now go into my network tools to see what's happening. I didn't have to go into all these different logins to go see exactly what's going on. I can just come in one screen, apply a policy in one screen, and everything is all good. This was, I would say, the biggest savior for us. Because we're in finance, misconfigurations is a big deal. We are trying to get to the market fast. We are trying to be one of the first innovators. Misconfigurations happens. Because we're in the financial industry, we also have a lot of compliance requirements that we have to adhere to. With Prisma Cloud, it's all just in one screen. All we have to do is to go into Prisma Cloud, look at what alerts that are coming up, and we could always see what compliance violations that we were actually going to be in trouble for and mitigate that right away. Misconfigurations, easy. It popped up, gives us an alert. We go in there, my team works on it, and then we are all good. For us, it was really about saving time saving money so that we can spend most of our time getting back to innovate and then bring value to our customers. So overall, what I wanted to share with you is what we started with and how we ended up. Our biggest focus was to be one of the fastest growing companies with innovation and then focus on our customers and our shareholders. We also wanted to be sure that policy management was not something that was redundant for us to do every single time. We also wanted to move all of our assets from on-prem and into the cloud in a secure manner. And then eventually, with all of our locations across the globe, protect all of them securely. And with all of the solutions that I talked about, with compliance options that we had with Prisma Cloud, with Panorama giving us that single pane of glass, and then also the zero trust policies that were embedded in all of the tools that Palo Alto gave us, it made a lot of things easy for us, especially when it came to automation on the network level. And that is what I have for you. Do you want to close out? Yeah, sure. All right.
So thank you, Felix, for sharing that. I'm happy to see that you were able to achieve the business outcomes that you were looking for, and you were able to do them securely using Palo Alto. So just wanted to wrap up. These are the 4 things that I said. I promised you that you walk away with, or hopefully you did walk away with them. How do you get that centralized threat visibility, full layer 7 into those sophisticated threats across all of your clouds? How do you stop them before they cause any damage? How do you stop them in real time? And do it across all these different environments in a consistent manner, both visibility and protection. And how do you do it without slowing your application teams down? That's really important because they are trying to innovate, run fast. You want to enable that, but you want to do it in a secure manner. So those are the things we wanted to highlight. Here are some of the automation resources with the new QR codes, so you can just scan them and get to where you need to get to. I did want to highlight that we've been building all these automation resources, Terraform and Ansible and CloudFormation templates, but we put them in GitHub. We also had reference architectures available on our website, and we heard from customers it was hard to find all this stuff. So what we did is, this is brand new. We just went live with public preview of what we're calling an automation hub for software firewalls. So if you go to this page, it'll allow you to look at reference architectures, various design patterns that we have put out there. And it'll also give you all the automation templates and modules and providers that go along with that. So you can just, in one place, you can find all of this and just run it, and it'll help you build that design in AWS right away. We have done it for VM series firewalls, and we have also done it for Cloud NGFW. So both of them are available on this hub, so it's really easy to find. And as we update things, change things, we'll continuously put it out there. It basically links to the right GitHub page, so you can download it directly from there as well. But in GitHub, we have lots of things, but this is kind of the curated stuff that we have put on this automation hub. So do check that out. It's available now. And then just links to our marketplace offerings. So VM series, Cloud NGFW, both of them are available as pay-go subscription and marketplace. You can simply subscribe. There is a free trial available, so you can try it out before you spend any money. So these are just links to that. CN series and VM series for on-prem environments as well, so links to that. And then just a recap of what Palo Alto is. So 3 platforms of network security, cloud security, and security operations, powered by our threat intel and advisory services. So thank you again for joining us today. Hopefully you found this useful. I will open it up for Q&A. If you have questions for me or Felix, we are happy to answer. Thank you.